What if I told you that in the heart of Italy, a country synonymous with the Vatican, the Pope, and Catholicism, there are over 2.6 million Muslims quietly shaping the future of the nation? Imagine a place where the call to prayer echoes in garages and warehouses because mosques are restricted, yet the faith continues to grow against all odds. How did Islam, a religion often seen as foreign to Europe, find its way into Italy? And what does its growth mean for a country deeply rooted in Catholic tradition? This is the untold story of Islam in Italy, a tale of resilience, faith, and the struggle for recognition. Italy, the land of Renaissance art, ancient ruins, and mouth-watering cuisine, is also home to one of the most fascinating religious transformations in modern Europe. While the Vatican City stands as the spiritual epicenter of Catholicism, Islam has quietly become the second largest religion in Italy. Yet despite its growing presence, Islam remains unrecognized by the Italian state, leaving millions of Muslims in a legal and cultural limbo. The story of Islam in Italy is not just about numbers, it's about people. It's about immigrants who crossed the Mediterranean in search of a better life, converts who found solace in a new faith, and a younger generation navigating their dual identities as both Italian and Muslim. It's a story of challenges and triumphs, of discrimination and resilience, and of a community determined to carve out its place in a country that often seems reluctant to accept it. Italy's Muslim population is a mosaic of cultures, languages, and traditions. With an estimated 2.6 million Muslims, Islam is the second largest religion in the country, yet it remains largely invisible in the public sphere. The majority of Muslims in Italy are immigrants or descendants of immigrants from countries like Morocco, Albania, Tunisia, Egypt, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. However, there is also a growing number of Italian converts, drawn to Islam for its spiritual depth and sense of community. The distribution of Muslims across Italy is uneven. While the south, particularly Sicily, has historical ties to Islam, the majority of Muslims today live in the north. Cities like Milan, Turin, and Rome are home to vibrant Muslim communities, where halal restaurants, Islamic bookstores, and cultural centers have become part of the urban landscape. Yet, despite their growing numbers, Muslims in Italy face significant challenges, from discrimination to the lack of official recognition. One of the most pressing issues facing Muslims in Italy is the lack of official recognition for Islam. Unlike Christianity and Judaism, which have formal agreements with the Italian state, Islam remains outside the framework of state-recognized religions. This means that Muslims do not have the same rights and privileges as other religious communities, such as access to public funding for religious activities or the ability to teach Islam in schools. The absence of official recognition has far-reaching consequences. Without legal status, mosques struggle to obtain permits for construction or renovation, forcing many Muslims to pray in makeshift spaces like garages, warehouses, or even open fields. These informal prayer spaces have become a lifeline for the community, but they are increasingly under threat. In recent years, there have been proposals to ban prayer outside of officially recognized mosques, a move that would further marginalize Muslims and restrict their freedom of worship. The story of Islam in Italy is not a new one. In fact, it dates back over 1,000 years to the 9th century, when Muslim forces from North Africa conquered Sicily and parts of southern Italy. For over 2 centuries, Sicily was a center of Islamic civilization, with mosques, schools, and libraries flourishing under Muslim rule. The island became a bridge between the Islamic world and Europe, influencing art, architecture, and culture in ways that are still visible today. However, this golden age came to an end in the 11th century, when Norman forces from northern Europe invaded Sicily and expelled the Muslim population. For the next 900 years, Islam all but disappeared from Italy, surviving only in the memories of a few scattered communities. It wasn't until the 20th century that Islam returned to Italy, brought by immigrants from North Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. Today, Islam is experiencing a revival in Italy, with mosques and Islamic centers springing up across the country. From the Grand Mosque of Rome, one of the largest mosques in Europe, to small prayer rooms in suburban neighborhoods, these spaces serve as hubs of community life, offering not just a place to pray, but also educational programs, social services, and cultural events. Despite its growth, the Muslim community in Italy faces significant challenges. Discrimination and prejudice are widespread, fueled by stereotypes and misinformation about Islam. Muslims are often portrayed as outsiders, a threat to Italy's cultural and religious identity. This narrative has been amplified by far-right politicians who have used anti-Muslim rhetoric to gain support and push for restrictive policies. One of the most controversial proposals in recent years is a bill that would ban prayer outside of officially recognized mosques. The bill, introduced by Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's party, has sparked outrage among Muslims and human rights advocates who see it as a direct attack on religious freedom. If passed, the bill would force many Muslims to abandon their makeshift prayer spaces, leaving them with nowhere to worship. The situation is particularly dire in northern Italy, where anti-immigrant sentiment is strongest. In cities like Milan and Turin, Muslims face not only legal barriers, but also social exclusion. Many report being denied jobs, housing, or even basic services because of their faith. For Muslim women who wear the hijab, the challenges are even greater, as they are often subjected to harassment and discrimination in public spaces. Despite these challenges, the Muslim community in Italy remains resilient. Mosques and Islamic centers continue to serve as beacons of hope, offering support and solidarity to those in need. During Ramadan, these spaces come alive with the sounds of prayer, the aroma of traditional foods, and the laughter of children. It's a time of spiritual renewal and community bonding, a reminder of the strength and unity that define Islam. The younger generation of Italian Muslims is also playing a key role in shaping the future of the community. Born and raised in Italy, they are fluent in Italian culture and language, yet deeply connected to their Islamic heritage. They are activists, artists, entrepreneurs, and scholars, using their talents to challenge stereotypes and build bridges between cultures. For them, being Muslim and Italian is not a contradiction, but a source of strength. The story of Islam in Italy is part of a larger narrative about the place of religion in modern Europe. As the continent becomes more diverse, questions about identity, integration, and religious freedom are becoming increasingly urgent. How can societies balance the rights of minority communities with the values of the majority? And what role should religion play in public life? These are questions that Italy, like many other European countries, is grappling with. The leadership of the Muslim community in Italy has been a topic of debate. While some organizations, like the Union of Islamic Communities in Italy, UCOI, have worked tirelessly to advocate for Muslim rights, others have been criticized for being too conservative or out of touch with the needs of the community. The lack of a unified voice has made it difficult for Muslims to achieve official recognition and secure their place in Italian society. At the same time, the Italian government's approach to Islam has been inconsistent. While some politicians have called for greater inclusion and dialogue, others have pushed for restrictive policies that marginalize Muslims. This tension reflects broader debates about immigration, national identity, and the role of religion in public life. So, what does the future hold for Islam in Italy? Will the Muslim community continue to grow and thrive, or will it face new challenges in an increasingly polarized society? The answer lies in the hands of the next generation of Italian Muslims, who are navigating the complexities of identity, faith, and belonging in a rapidly changing world. But to truly understand what the future might look like, we need to explore the forces shaping this generation and the broader societal trends that will influence their journey. The next generation of Italian Muslims is unique. They are the children of immigrants, converts, and lifelong Muslims who have grown up in a country that is both deeply traditional and rapidly modernizing. They are navigating the challenges of being Muslim in a post-9/11 world, where their faith is often misunderstood or misrepresented. Yet, they are also part of a generation that is more connected, more vocal, and more determined to make a difference than ever before. For many young Italian Muslims, their identity is a blend of cultures, traditions, and values. They celebrate Eid with the same enthusiasm as Christmas, and they find ways to incorporate Islamic teachings into their modern, fast-paced lives. They are redefining what it means to be Muslim in Italy, creating a new narrative that is both authentic and inclusive. But this generation also faces significant challenges. They are growing up in a time of heightened political and social tensions, where issues like immigration, national identity, and religious freedom are at the forefront of national discourse. They are often caught between the expectations of their families and communities and the pressures of fitting into a society that doesn't always understand or accept them. One of the defining features of this generation is their relationship with technology and social media. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have become powerful tools for young Muslims to express their faith, share their stories, and connect with others. From hijabi fashion influencers to Muslim comedians and activists, social media has given Italian Muslims a platform to challenge stereotypes and showcase the diversity of their community. But social media is a double-edged sword. While it provides opportunities for connection and empowerment, it also exposes young Muslims to online hate, misinformation, and cyberbullying. Navigating this digital landscape requires resilience and critical thinking, qualities that will be essential as they continue to shape their identities and futures. One of the most pressing challenges facing Italian Muslims is the rise of extremism and Islamophobia. In the years since 9/11, Muslims have been disproportionately targeted by hate crimes, surveillance, and discriminatory policies. The rhetoric of fear and division has only intensified in recent years, fueled by political polarization and the spread of misinformation. For young Muslims, this environment can be incredibly isolating. They are often forced to defend their faith and prove their loyalty to a country that questions their belonging. Yet many are rising to the challenge, using their voices to advocate for justice, equality, and understanding. Organizations like the Union of Islamic Communities in Italy, UCOIE, are working tirelessly to combat Islamophobia and protect the rights of Italian Muslims, but the fight is far from over. For many young Italian Muslims, their faith is deeply intertwined with their commitment to social justice. Inspired by the teachings of Islam and the legacy of figures like Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, they are at the forefront of movements for racial equality, climate justice, and immigrant rights. They see their activism as an extension of their faith, a way to live out the Quranic injunction to stand firmly for justice. This intersection of faith and activism is reshaping the narrative of Italian Islam. It's no longer just about preserving traditions or building mosques. It's about creating a more just and equitable society for all. Young Muslims are partnering with people of other faiths and backgrounds to address shared challenges, from poverty and homelessness to police brutality and systemic racism. As the Muslim population grows, so too does the importance of interfaith dialogue. Building bridges with other religious communities is essential for fostering understanding and combating prejudice. Many mosques and Islamic organizations are actively engaged in interfaith initiatives, hosting open houses, participating in community service projects, and collaborating on social justice campaigns. But interfaith dialogue is not without its challenges. Misconceptions about Islam persist, and some communities remain hesitant to engage. Overcoming these barriers requires patience, empathy, and a willingness to listen. The next generation of Italian Muslims will play a crucial role in advancing this work, using their unique perspectives and experiences to build a more inclusive society. The future of Islam in Italy cannot be understood in isolation from the global context. The challenges facing Muslims in Italy are part of a broader story of how Islam is evolving in the 21st century. From the rise of populism in Europe to the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, the global Muslim community is grappling with complex issues that have far-reaching implications. For Italian Muslims, this global context is both a source of strength and a reminder of their responsibilities. They are part of a worldwide ummah community that spans continents and cultures, united by a shared faith and a common set of values. At the same time, they are uniquely positioned to serve as ambassadors for Islam, challenging stereotypes and promoting understanding in a country that is often skeptical of their faith. So, what does the future hold for Islam in Italy? The answer is both hopeful and uncertain. On one hand, the growth of the Muslim population and the increasing visibility of Italian Muslims suggest a bright future. Mosques are thriving, Islamic schools are expanding, and young Muslims are making their mark in every field, from politics to the arts. On the other hand, the challenges are real. Islamophobia, political polarization, and the pressures of assimilation threaten to undermine the progress that has been made. The next generation of Italian Muslims will need to navigate these challenges with courage, creativity, and resilience. Ultimately, the future of Islam in Italy will depend on the choices that individuals and communities make. Will they prioritize unity over division, compassion over judgment, and justice over fear? Will they embrace the diversity of their community and work together to build a society that reflects the values of their faith? The story of Islam in Italy is still being written, and the next chapter promises to be one of the most important yet. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep seeking the truth. The future is in our hands, and together we can shape